Hello everyone, welcome to Late Night Creations. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you are a returning friend, welcome back. Today in this video, I'm gonna make 5 DIYs. Super easy, scrap wood. Been using a lot of scrap wood lately. It is so easy to find. You just need to look out there, keep your eyes peeled. One of these things that I made today came from something I picked up off the curb. Yeah, don't be afraid to pick up somebody's trash. They put it out there, they don't want it anymore. Grab it. So some of it came out of a dumpster behind a cabinet shop. My mom spied it and we dumpster dived. Yes, we did. And so they're beautiful crafts. I hope that you enjoy them. They're very rustic, yeah, they're rustic. And I just wanted to keep them rustic because they are crosses. And want to keep them rustic to commemorate the suffering that Christ did on the cross for us. But he's not still there. He is risen. And so that's the exciting part. So we don't want to forget that during this Easter time, that, you know, we don't celebrate the cross. We celebrate the empty grave. So come along, let's craft. And I know you can do these. They are simple. Let's go. Okay, we're starting off with all of this scrap wood. All of it was free to me. There were pieces that I picked up here and there, out of the trash, whatever. So I'm going to start with these 3 little pieces that I cut to these specific lengths and give them a coat of this kind of green that I mixed. And I have one piece longer than the other 2 pieces on purpose. And so I'm going to take this twine. I've been using this twine for a long time. I don't even remember where I got it. I kind of think I got it at Walmart at Christmas. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to twist it around. And then just like when you wrap a present and then you twist it the other way. And then on the back side, I'm going to tie the 2 pieces together. So you can need to leave a little tail when you first start so that you have something to tie it to. And I'm just going to tie it really tight on the back and then just snip those little ends off and do all 3 of those like that. On the front side of it, I'm going to take a little piece and slip it underneath at a crisscross at an angle and then just tie it up so that it looks like a cross. And I kind of like to, I'm going to do this particular one in a bow or just a knot. Let's see, just a knot. That's what I thought. And I kind of like to make the edges, kind of spread them out so it looks like a cross. I forgot to kind of put a little glaze on it. And so I'm going to do that on these and then I'll go back and do the other one. I'm going to use this antique wax by Folk Art, and then I'm just going to use a little baby wipe. You're going to see me use that a lot in this video, just to kind of wipe that glaze off. See the difference? Okay, so here all 3 of them are glazed. Now this is going to be my little stand. I decided I wanted to put these 3 little crosses on a stand, so I'm going to paint this little piece for the stand and do it the same way that I did all the 3 pieces that have the little crosses on them. I just think that twine, you know, when you make the twine like that, they look like crosses. So I made the 1 taller cross and the 2 smaller crosses to represent the crosses on Calvary. The cross that Jesus was on and the other 2 crosses. We don't really know what they look like, but we like to think that Jesus was in the middle and that he was taller. That's how it's always depicted anyway. So that's what we're going for here anyway. Whether it was really like that or not, that's what we're going for. So, you know, that's a little hack. I put my paintbrush in a little bag to keep it moist in case I need it to, you know, it was the same paintbrush I used on those 3. So So I think my little thumbs up was that I didn't need it to be complete coverage, especially since I'm going to, glaze it a little bit. Put that little glaze on there and put that antique wax on there and make it a little darker. And I'm going to have those 3 crosses sitting on top of there. Had to go get a baby wipe. Sorry about that. And just wipe that off. And you'd always like to do the bottom too, because somebody might turn that little baby upside down and see the bottom, and heaven forbid that it wouldn't be finished out. I always like to finish up the bottoms. So here we go, all done. So now we're going to glue those 3 crosses down. Now, because of that twine on there, they don't sit straight, but I was okay with that. I was okay because it's very rustic, so I really was okay with it not sitting completely straight. Here I go with my tweezers. Can't craft without those tweezers. So I just, for some reason, that glue wasn't wanting to adhere really good at first. So here we go with this one. And then I'm using my little pink tool from Dollar Tree. That little spatula, I use it more on the end than I do the metal point. I'm trying to remember which end was the bottom. Glue it down. Get the excess glue off. Don't want a little bead of glue around there. And these turned out so adorable. I'm so happy with how they turned out. Already cut this size. I love the wood grain. I love the color. We're just going to leave it natural. And we're going to use this little natural heart. This one's going to be natural. Very natural with the raffia, however you say it. I've always said it raffia. I hear people say it raffia, but however you want to say it, tomato, right? Okay, so just a little bit wrapped around. Now, this one I couldn't get to, my straw wasn't long enough to wrap the same way I did on the last DIY. So I just did it one way and then did it the other way. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I did it sideways, and now I'm going to do it long ways. I just have to find some long enough. I'm going to tell you that if you buy some of this raffia, it will last you forever. I mean, I've been using it for a long time. I've had this in my stash for a long time, and it's lasted me for quite a while. And because it just doesn't take that much. You can make bows out of it. You can use it on wreaths, and it really lasts a long time. And that little piece just didn't quite make it, so we just stick a little piece of glue on it. Now, I'm thinking you could put a bow there. Would be super cute, but I'm going to put a heart there. Now, I decided that I wanted to put the word love on there. I thought maybe with red, since the blood of Jesus, covers our sins, and he did it out of love for us, but that red kind of bled in the grain of the wood. So I had this gold paint pen, and I really liked how it did better. I really liked the thinner pen with the Sharpie, but I didn't like how it bled. So look how quick and easy and simple that was, and how beautiful it is. I just love it. Love it. I hope you like it too. Okay, this piece of wood was also cut. All I had to do was sand it down. So I'm going to take some of this sheepskin paint and these paint brushes I got at Ross for $12. Look, 30 pieces, 30 paint brushes. And they're so soft. The bristles are so soft. So I chose this one as the perfect size to do this project with. And I just love this paint color. It's called sheepskin, and it's folk art chalk paint. Love it. So I'm just going to give it one good coat. It only took one coat because it's very close to the same color as the wood. And I really wouldn't care if the wood grain showed through a little bit because it's a pretty piece of wood too. I mean, it's just pine, but it's still pretty. And then I decided that, we can't have it just one flat color. So we are going to dry brush some of this, I think it was called Desert Sand by Americana. And so we're going to have that, I'm telling you, we're going to have the ribbon on there. So we really just need to do around the edges. We don't have to waste our time or waste our paint doing the whole thing. Just around the edges, and just do it quickly. You do however much you want or however little you want. It's just whatever. It's just personal preference. I just wanted the edges to look like it had some depth to it, so it wasn't just one flat color. I think these two colors look really good together, and you can kind of put your colors down on the paper. If you have your surface covered with paper, or you can use a paper plate, you can always just, how I'm doing the dry brush, how I'm kind of painting it over there on the paper, you can just paint your colors over there to see what colors match. Then I decided I wanted a little bit more warmth to it, so I added some little bit of that glaze. I didn't put a whole lot of that antique glaze wax. I think it's more like a glaze. It's called a wax because it's not the same color as, it's not the same as a paint. It has a different consistency. But yeah, I put it kind of on the edge of the paintbrush and then ran the edge on the edge of the wood so that it really kind of got the edge. So now I'm deciding where I want the front or the top to be. And I left for a minute. Not sure what I'm doing there. Cleaning up, tidying up the place. I'm getting think I'm cutting a rag. Got my little piece of t-shirt. So I'm rubbing it down. I do this a lot of times because you can just rub it down really good and it will kind of make the surface almost slick. It kind of seals it a little bit. So here I am with this ribbon from Sam's Club. It was a huge roll of ribbon I got, and I'm just loving it this Easter season for a neutral Easter color. So we're going to use this for the cross here. So I'm just going to glue it down. Some hot glue on there, stick it down. Thinking my glue gun is turned off because it shuts off automatically. And so we're turning it back on. Okay, so now we're going to just glue that back down. I'm not sure what I'm waiting on here, but there we go. Get that glue on there. There we go. Okay. Pretty easy, easy peasy. Just make sure it's straight and even, that we got the same amount of space all the way across the top, because we're going to pinch it after we get it all glued down, just like we did the other ones. All of these DIYs kind of have the same theme, the crosses, just different ways that you can do them. So yeah, I'm saying we don't want it to be too tight there, but get it nice and get it taut, but not like too taut. That's really good explanation, wasn't it? Now we'll get our little piece of twine, run it underneath diagonally, and then I'm surprised I didn't grab my tweezers. Tight. Make sure all my edges are just turned right. Tie a little knot in it. And we're going to make a little twine bow for the middle. And it's going to be super, super cute. Twine bows are easy to make. Wrap them around your fingers for your loops. Then just tie it in the middle with the extra piece. And voila, there we go. a little spot of glue. Press it down. Got some little tails hanging out there. I kind of like those, but maybe not quite that long. But I like when you have a lot of loops to not just have one tail hanging down there. I like to have a couple tails hanging. And then, sometimes you just have to look at it and see what looks right. Sometimes it doesn't look right. Now, pull your loops, fluff it, glue it. Oh my goodness, how beautiful is that? So, so pretty. I love it. Oh, guess I didn't love that one too much. I think I thought it was too little. The bow was too small. Not real sure why I took that bow off, but I ripped it off, didn't I? I sure did. I think I thought it was too small. I'm not real sure, but we're making another one. I'm sorry I'm out of frame. I moved my camera a little bit more overhead, and so I'm having a little difficulty staying in frame on this video. I'll get used to it. Okay, here we go. I'm not sure why that bow looks that much different. Maybe it's a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller. There we go. Just showing you again how to make a bow. Maybe I think that bow looks better. There we go. And I promise I'm not throwing trash in the floor. Another gorgeous piece of wood. It is a beautiful, smooth finish. I did have to sand it, but I sanded it, and it's just a beautiful piece of wood. I got this out of a dumpster at a cabinet shop. Yep, you got it. And it was already this size. It's super thick. It's not super heavy. I mean, it's heavy, but it's not like super duper heavy. But I'm going to put this glaze on here, and then I'm taking a wet wipe, baby wipe, and I'm just smearing it. The baby wipe is helping to move that color around. And I'm just getting it on all the little cracks and nooks and crannies and grooves, and I'm doing all sides of it. And now it's done. And then I'm just going to take my little sanding block from Dollar Tree, and I add a little piece of sandpaper to it and just sand the edges. Excuse me. And I just sand all around the edges just to give it a little bit of a distressed look. Because this is going to be a really simple one. There's not going to be a whole lot to this one. So I want to give it a little bit of character. So I'm just going to take this twine and, leave that tail so we have something to tie it to. And here I go out of frame again. I apologize. But it's the same technique we've done on all of them. But this piece of wood was a little bigger, so it's kind of hard to stay in frame. Okay, you see how that kind of is right there. I don't know how to explain that, but you'll see that I did take that underneath and brought it up to tie it so that it caught that loose piece. There we go. You just have to secure it. And then under, diagonal, tighten a knot. Same as I've done on every single one of these projects. Super easy. I just think these are so easy and so pretty. So fitting for Easter. So I kind of struggled with this little one trying to get it to look a certain way, but when they're rustic, they just don't have to be perfect, right? They just need to look what the kind of trendy word is, organic. So I'm using this twine again that I've had forever, and I'm going to make a twine bow with my fingers, leave a long tail, wrap it around my fingers a couple times, leave a tail on this end, cut another piece of string, wrap it right around the middle of those loops, find the center, wrap it around, tie it in the middle. Easy peasy. Then we'll just glue it right in the middle. Now I decide I want to put a little greenery or some little florals with it. And so I had this little pick that I had picked up from, I think this came from Dollar Tree. And so I cut off some green, and here I go trying to be a floral arranger again, and yeah, it turned out cute, so just bear with me here. So I just kind of I'm just trying to kind of stick it in there and see what looks good and how it looks good, and it just takes me a while. Somebody's probably saying, don't do that, don't do that. I wish I had somebody in the room with me telling me what to do with this stuff, because I am not the best at it. I need help. I should watch some tutorials on how to arrange greenery and florals, and how to make wreaths. I'm not very good at making wreaths either. But anyway, we'll just glue those little pieces of greenery in there and put the bow on there, and you know what? It all looks cute, very cute in the end. I took those needle nose pliers, and I smushed down the center of that bow a little bit. Because you know, sometimes when you make a knot in the middle of there, it gets real thick, and it just smashed it down pretty good. So that's what I did. That's what you saw me doing with those pliers earlier. So I'm just going to stick those 3 cute little white flowers right to the center of my bow, kind of just smush them all together, and it turned out really cute. And this one stands up by itself because there's not a lot of that extra twine on the bottom, and I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. Of wood was the last piece from those 3 that were the 3 crosses, and we're just going to give it the same sheepskin, a coat of paint with the same sheepskin paint that I did the other project with. It's just such a good neutral color. It's not white, and it's not too ivory or creamy. It's a little bit ivory, but it looks good. I'm saying I don't care that it's got the holes in there. I could have filled those holes, but I don't care. I actually picked this up off the curb. I've had this for maybe a couple years. It was like a shipping crate. It was a small shipping crate, and I've made several projects out of it. And so this is the last of it. And so this was the last little scrap, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to use this to just say he is risen, because that's the whole theme of Easter. So we're going to dry brush a little bit of that green to kind of tie in that green from the 3 little crosses, and just, I don't know, I just love this green, so we're just going to use it. And keeping with the rustic, we're going to just put a little bit of hot glue there and wrap the twine around the ends. Now, had I been thinking, I would have put my decal on first, but no, I put my twine on first because I like to do things the difficult way. But we should work smarter, not harder, right? But I kind of do things backwards and harder, and that's just part of it, I guess. And sometimes I just do it as I make it up as I go along. But this one, I had a plan to do this. So here, I don't always show you that how I weed out, but this is how it is. So the Cricut cuts out your words, and then you weed out the parts that you don't want. So we take out the parts, those little parts, and that part is pretty fun. And then we get our little transfer tape. I love the Frisco transfer tape. Frisco Craft, I believe, is the actual brand name of it. My friend over at White Sparrow Living, she doesn't know me, but I know her because I have watched her DIY for quite some time. She uses that, and I ordered some, and I am in love with it. That's all I use now. So here we go. Just gently pull it off, and it comes off like a charm. And then we're going to transfer it. Now decide I'm going to pull that out a little bit. Right to the center. Scrape it down a little bit just so it gets on the wood and adheres. And it usually does really well with this transfer tape. And Look at that. Would you look at that? Beautiful. I just think this is just a cute